I'm Harvey Coppell, the Executive Director of the Center for CIO Leadership. Welcome to CIO Perspectives, focusing on key topics for CIOs. In this installment, we'll be discussing how leading organizations are embracing business analytics. Joining me are my guests, Jeanette Horan, CIO of IBM, Peter Watnell, CIO of Sunoco, and Ron Bergman, CIO of Lehman College, City University of New York. Thank you all for joining. One of the areas of the CIO study was business analytics. I'd like to explore with you what your organization is doing with big data and unstructured data. Are you looking at analytics as a way to drive insight from this data? And if so, how is the work going? Any tips for our viewers or pitfalls to avoid? So Jeanette, maybe we can start with you this one.
Well, Harvey, that's actually a really interesting question and very timely, as analytics is certainly top of mind within IBM, and also I know for many of our clients right now. And we're actually doing two different things. The first thing is to make sure that we have a good data strategy. In order to really have a good analytics strategy, we need to make sure that we've got the single trusted version of the truth.
The underlying source of the data must be accurate.
Right, exactly. So we're re-examining our master data strategy to make sure that we do have common and consistent master data across the enterprise. And then we're looking at our information warehouses and enterprise content management repository strategies to make sure that we do have, as I say, the information warehouses that would be truly considered as that single version of the truth. The second thing that we're doing is to provide a cloud-based analytics environment for our business users. We recognized after IBM acquired Cognos a few years ago that every department was wanting to have a Cognos server installed in order to move forward on their own analytics journey. And we determined very quickly that we could provide a hosted cloud-based environment that would enable those business departments and users to get access to the applications much more readily and easily in a much more cost-effective way. So our cloud environment now has over 150,000 business users that sort of regularly access that environment.
What about the issue of unstructured data? I know we talked a little bit earlier about some of the consumerization aspects. How is IBM stepping up to those challenges?
So we've actually done a number of things internally with respect to implementing more of the social media technologies, whether it's the IBM Connections product that allows people to have a Facebook, Twitter-like experience within that trusted private domain, but also providing things like sort of tagging to allow people to more readily find information. So very exciting projects for us in this area.
I can imagine. Ron, how about from the City University perspective? I'm sure given the plethora of stakeholders, the students, the faculty, the community that you serve, this must be a very, very important topic for you. Can you share some insights from your perspective?
Well, like many organizations, I think the issues that you've described around data governance and data maturity are resident within the university or in the public sector, and from my experience with the City of New York. We have recently implemented a pilot to introduce business intelligence, and there's rapid uptake. While the data has to be good, as you've described, that there's great value to having data in a manner that would be described as fast. It's contextual, brings together data from different sources in one place, and it's also very visual. With regard to unstructured data, that's a whole new area. You mentioned the IBM Connections project, which is fascinating, and the idea that is included in there is social analytics, so that you get recommendations.
Yes, absolutely.
You see that obviously in Amazon. People like you bought this.
Sure. And Peter, how about Sunoco? I would imagine data would be an important aspect of company's operations?
It is, but unlike Ron and Jeanette, our industry is very firmly rooted in the structured data area. The oil business as a whole has been a user for 50 years of mathematical models, optimization techniques, very, very intensive. But really, the opportunities we have in the structured data side are still so great. We need to understand the buying and choosing habits of consumers and wholesalers, but luckily there are lots of sources of information like that. So we're really in the structured sense. We're in the 30 billion range, but we have less than 10,000 employees. So ours is all based on throughput. So when you're processing 350,000 barrels of crude a day in a refinery, it doesn't take many cents a barrel improvement to turn out big numbers at the end. So the leverage there is really where we're focusing our efforts.
Great, great. Well, I'd like to thank you all for a most stimulating and interesting discussion. I want to thank you for watching and looking forward to continuing the dialogue with you and all of our members online. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.